Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're recording this a little earlier than usual, considering we're not going to have a news episode this week. So, when you're hearing this was actually recorded on Sunday evening because Jamie is heading to Disney without me. I was not invited because she's going with her sister and her kids and her mom. So it's just going to be like an all girls and baby Thor trip.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's the first time I've been with my sister and my mom. It's the first time we've really done this before. So we're all pretty excited about it. So
yeah, and then she's coming here to stay for a few days after that. So we figured probably be a better shot to just get it done now versus trying to squeeze it in on Wednesday evening when.
Well, she's sleeping in here, so it kind of puts a.
True. The office is also a bedroom.
It is.
If you would like, sometimes it's a service we run called Air Studio and B. I don't know what it is, but anyways. So which probably means we won't have we'll do some sort of live stream maybe for Club 32 because Jamie will be gone, but a little bit different week. But anything now? What are anything specific you guys are hitting up like unique?
Well, we're staying at Art of Animation in a Finding Nemo suite because there's 7 of us. One's an infant, so we were able to fit in that. And we're going to be doing Hollywood Studios. We're going to do Magic Kingdom, and we're going to do Epcot. And we are also eating at Garden Grill for breakfast, which I think it's been like 20 some years since I've been. So I'll be excited to do that with the kids and everything. So
I've never eaten there, so I don't even.
Well, I will let you know.
I know of it. I know it's in the mall.
It's in the mall at Epcot. Yes, it is there.
You can go to the food court and do they give out samples still?
The samples?
Remember food courts at the mall? They always give you out the bourbon chicken samples and
the
stuff?
Chinese restaurants did too. Yeah. I don't know. Wouldn't that be funny if they did it?
They should. They should just lean right into it and just be an old retro mall and talk about it. But anyways.
Well, it'll be fun. So
yes. Yeah. So today, like we said, we don't have a news story. We are going to talk about our stay at Port Orleans French Quarter, which we stayed at a couple weeks ago. And then we're also going to give, I don't know, a full review. We give some thoughts on Via Napoli because I have eaten here before. Jamie had never eaten here, and there might be some hot takes, we'll just say. And I don't think they'll come from me. So that'll be... Although some of them will. But I'm just saying, some of them will also come from somebody else.
It's a little tease for you.
But before we get to talking about French Quarter, just want to remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube or you would like to watch us on YouTube, you can do that over at CTM Podcast over on YouTube. And if you are, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you wouldn't mind. And if you're listening to us on good old trusty podcast audio form, we greatly appreciate that. And just have to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever platform you listen on. It would help us immensely to grow the show. And, of course, if you want even more content, you could look at joining Club 32, which is our private group, kind of like our own Patreon, where we have a lot of additional content. We have live streams. We have discounts. You get 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products year-round. So it's like Black Friday all the time. There's a private Facebook group. There's a private Discord. There's a private podcast feed. And we're going to be doing more stuff in there. Like I said, we have live streams like in the parks and room tours, cooking segments. We do a live stream every Tuesday where we just chat with everybody just to talk about whatever people want to talk about. If you got questions on trips, whatever it is, we can talk about that. So if you're interested in joining there, you can go to ctmvip.com. We have monthly or yearly options. And if you can even do a free trial, so you can free trial to try it out. Or if you do yearly, you get a free t-shirt. So one way or the other, you get something for free. So again, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. So, all right. Well, we're going to talk about, like we said, French Quarter. So if you're unfamiliar with this, you have Port Orleans, which has Riverside and French Quarter. They're right next to each other. We stayed at Riverside a couple years ago and really enjoyed it. And these are considered Disney moderate level resorts here.
Yes.
So French Quarter, we're just going to go through some stuff real quickly about French Quarter. It was originally opened in 1991.
Which is really early. I did not realize it was that old.
I didn't either, and this is the first time I'd ever stayed here.
Yeah.
So I've been around here, but I didn't realize it had been around since 91 either. For some reason in my head, I thought it was...
It doesn't feel like it's old.
No.
At all.
No, not at all. No. And like we said, it's a moderate resort.
Yes.
Room rates start around $301 a night. But you can always get a cheaper rate with discounts. For instance, for the night we stayed there, what did we end up paying that night?
We paid about $240 for
Okay.
for a river view room, which the standard view, like the garden view, wasn't available. I think this is the only view available, but but the difference in the price is like $5 or $10 or something like that. So
Yes, and we were in building 6, and we could walk out and have a view of the Saskalua River. Or how do you say it? Sasagula River.
Yeah.
So you could see the boat that goes to like Disney Springs. So as views go, and granted, we didn't spend a lot of time. We were there for one night. We crammed a bunch of stuff into sort of 2 days, but it was really nice.
Yeah, we love the view.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It's one of those things because it's a moderate resort, your window faces the walkway. And so there's not really, it's not like a deluxe resort where you can like open your window and it's like, oh, the beautiful view of the water. It's like, well, there's a little bit of a, the walkway in between and then the railing. So it's a little bit different.
Which is, and just in general about when it comes to the type of resort, my biggest gripe about, well, not biggest, but one of the biggest gripes I have about Disney values and moderates is they are out the exterior facing hotels.
Yes.
And I'm not a fan of those.
Not the best. I
don't know. It's not like we've never had really a terrible experience with that. Like sometimes it's happened where people are loud, but I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't know.
You feel exposed.
I think a lot of it, like I remember growing up, we stayed a lot of Motel 6s. It just reminds me of like a Motel 6.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of like, to me, I'm not saying this, it seems sort of like cheap.
What's funny is like you'd think that they would have made it a little bit different because seeing it as a Disney resort, like it's a moderate, you'd think that maybe they would spring for interior hallways, kind of like they did in our Art of Animation.
Yeah.
With the suites, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure exterior facing doors like this are cheaper to make.
Well, sure.
So I'm sure, which is one reason why we talk about all the time. Like I do enjoy like Universal's values and moderates because not all of them, most of those are interior hallways. So right off the bat, there's about that, but it did have a cool view, and the resort itself was nice. So, we'll go ahead and talk about. We talk about the room first.
Yeah.
Okay. So we stayed. It's a 2 queen.
2 queens. Mm-hmm.
I mean, layout wise, there's nothing here that's crazy. Not especially compared to like other resorts. It
was a smart TV.
It did have a smart, which that is one of the most baffling things I will say is the inconsistency of the TVs. Even of newer refurbed rooms, some of them don't have smart TVs. Some of them do. Like
Boardwalk. Boardwalk was a refurbed room and it didn't have a smart TV.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Well, and it's one of those things like for us, like we don't watch that much TV in general anyways.
Right.
But I know some people like on the smart TVs, you can hook up your phone to watch like say Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Or you can use it in different ways. And then if they don't have that, and I know we've had listeners talk about how they were ready to like watch football games or something.
Yeah.
And it's not a smart TV and they can't do it.
Right.
So I think for some people that could be more of a game breaker or a deal breaker versus for us.
Yeah.
But it is nice because it says, it's got the whole welcome to your name on there. And you can watch Josh D'Amaro say hi to you.
That's right.
Over and over again. They had the video on demand stuff. So they do have nice features when it is a smart TV. I think that should be just standard across the board.
Sure. Everywhere. Absolutely.
But the only thing I can guess is just like cost. And sometimes they just don't want to do it.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
would it be a DVC thing? Because before, like we rented on DVC points at Boardwalk. Is it like a DVC versus like?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It could be.
I don't know.
That just struck me as that. But
struck you?
It did.
But moving on from the TV, just a couple of things to mention about this room. It does still have a curtain that separates the bathroom and the main room, which I took note of because I was like, that's not really like great for like sound purposes. Whereas a lot of the refurbed rooms like at Caribbean Beach, at Coronado Springs, they have the barn door, the pocket door.
Which I do like better.
I do like those better too.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is something to take note of. Decor-wise in this room, it was very, I don't know, I want to say plain, but it's just very simple. Like there were touches of like Mardi Gras stuff, French Quarter stuff. Like the curtains were beads. They look like beads on them, which was, I think was kind of cool. They had a couple of fleur-de-lis. Those look fleur-de-lis that represent all that stuff. It was on like the sconces on the lights. I think it was above the headboard maybe, but just very simple. Wouldn't you say? Just
yeah,
very simple?
nothing. I mean, it had little flares.
Yeah.
It did. Was this recently refurbed?
I don't think it was very recent.
I don't think so either.
No.
It had a lot of USB outlets. It had little touches
Mm-hmm.
that were very, I guess you'd say Mardi Gras, like the painting on the. So most of these have like the wall on the head where the headboards are at will be like a different cut, like an accent color. This was like a bluish. You've got the listening device that's in all the rooms that I just
the Hello Disney.
The Hello Disney that I don't use, but it's got like the picture on the wall. That's this one was like Mardi Gras. I think
it's supposed to be like as a river.
So I think maybe it was because we're on the river there. And then you've got some little accent pieces that were very New Orleans, very French Quarter. So, but in terms of the room layout, it's basically exactly the same as you're going to find on most of these values or moderates.
Yep. It was actually very similar to Little Mermaid room.
Yeah, and like the bathroom's the same. I mean, it now it does have a curtain there too. It doesn't have a sliding glass door. So some of the newer ones have the sliding glass doors. Which
I think they should update those because I like the doors better than the curtains.
I like the barn door. I don't like the shower curtain as the bathroom separator and for the shower.
Exactly.
I think it should just I just not that it makes a huge difference, but it can in terms of like noise and just looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got the pump for the shampoo, conditioner, all that stuff in there.
2 sinks, double sinks. Love
which
that.
Jamie cares more about than I do.
I like to.
I don't know why. Jamie always points it out. I don't care as much, but
because usually if you have 2 sinks, you have more counter space.
Yeah,
usually,
kind of.
Usually, but like Pop Century, there's like no counter space, and there's 1 sink.
Well, there's really not much counter space in this, except for the fact that you've got the upper shelf. I don't know. It's not like you and I are ever using the sinks at the same time usually. But not. It depends. I mean, it does have double sinks if that's something that is important to you.
A family of 4 may care if they're staying here.
It's very true. Yes.
Yep.
But all in all, the room, I mean, it had some little accents there. Pretty basic.
The housekeeping, they make a Mickey head out of Mardi Gras beads.
Yes, they did do that.
So that's kind of nice. Little touch.
They leave you a note as if they wrote it themselves, but I doubt they did. But now, one thing you can always, one thing you talk about, like just come very much like baseline standard when it comes to Disney hotels are the beds are very comfortable.
Yeah, they are.
Now, this didn't have Murphy beds, which the newer ones usually do, which I do like that layout. But even if it's a Murphy bed, beds are very comfortable. And that's one thing I do like about, you get the perks of staying on Disney property in terms of like the bus transportation and being close, but the beds are really good. And we talk about a lot of the off-property hotels that we do frequent. And while I do like them, the beds are inconsistent.
Yep.
I mean, we love Jury, but Jury's beds are not that great. And, I guess you could say.
I hate that too, by the way.
I know. I mean, I guess as you get older, like, I notice beds way more. Like, I love our bed. For one thing, we have a great bed. I love it. So
we do what we do.
So when I'm not in our bed, I'm very much like, oh, this bed's not good. Like, oh, no.
The older you get, the more you care about that stuff.
Well, I also think, too, I can still sleep on most anything. It's just I may wake up and be like, oh, my back is stiff or something. But the Disney beds are great. They really
always.
are.
Yep.
Now, one thing I will say, and I don't think this is anything that's like groundbreaking, but Disney hotels on the thermostat, they will only go, a lot of people ask about this. The hotels, and most resorts and most hotels do this now, they only will go down to a certain temperature.
What temperature is that?
So Disney's, I think by default goes down to, it says 68 degrees.
Okay.
I've never felt it actually gets down to 68 degrees. And this is always something interesting about hotel rooms because, like, personally in our house, like, we put it down to like 72 degrees at night and it feels very cool. And at Disney at 68, it can feel very like warm. But they also just have that window unit over there.
Right.
So you can override the thermostats to let you take it down, and then to only let you go down to 65 degrees.
Oh.
But you can do that, which personally speaking, I like to put it at like 66 degrees.
Naughty.
I'm just saying you can. This is something people comment a lot about.
Yeah.
And I understand like they're trying to save money, but at the same time too, like if you can't sleep, like I feel like that's an important thing, but you can't override these. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. You can YouTube it and it's right there. It's like there's plenty of them. Like you can see the unit, but it is possible to do that. I actually think if you call down to the front desk, I actually think they will overwrite it for you if you ask.
Oh, really?
I think I've heard of places that doing that because they do it just by default because if you think about all the people that stay there, if they can just get them to put it at 68 degrees and not 65, they probably, who knows how much money they save on like the air conditioning bill. But that's just something if you sleep better warmer, that's fine. But it's like, if you're going to be there for 5 nights, you want to get a good night's sleep. But I just want to put that out there. That is possible. You can always look at doing. But anything else about the room? The fridge was pretty decent size.
Yeah, just standard.
Yeah, it's got drawers in there. But all in all, like the room itself, nothing crazy. It was fine. It was clean. Yep. A comfortable bed.
Yep.
Kind of all you
No carpet. No carpet.
Yeah. Pretty much all you can ask for there. But
yes.
So let's talk about the resort itself.
Okay.
And I think this is where, when you talk about like Disney resorts, this is the thing that kind of stands out is so I'll just say I loved Riverside.
Okay.
Riverside's one of my favorite like resorts in general, like especially on moderate at Disney. I think French Quarter is right up there with it. The way in which they theme it. It's really well done. It's very unique, especially when you get like toward the lobby area. Like it's very small and quaint.
I was gonna say that's like one thing that it really draws me into this resort is that I would say it's charming. It's a charming resort because it's small. There are only 7 room buildings. There's 1 pool and the lobby building. Like that's it.
Yeah,
it's very small. There's a little over 1,000 rooms total. And what's a big perk, at least for me, with moderate resorts, is there's only 1 bus stop.
Yeah.
So with Riverside, with Coronado Springs, with Caribbean Beach, with Fort Wilderness and their bus system is a mess. But with all of those other resorts, it's multiple stops around the resort because it's so spread out. With French Quarter, there's 1. Now, sometimes Animal Kingdom, I think maybe Disney Springs, they sometimes share with Riverside, depending on what's going on. But usually it's 1 bus stop and like just one place to go, and that's it.
Yeah. No, it is small, and it does have it feels small, but it doesn't feel. It feels more like you're saying quaint or subdued. Like you can sit outside this. So when you walk around, it's got little game. Now the pool was closed when we were there.
Pool was closed when we were there.
So we couldn't check out the pool, but it did have little like you could play like cornhole, and they had stuff you could play on that, and you could sit outside and eat. And then of course in the lobby area you have where you can get the beignets.
Oh, let's talk about these beignets, bro.
Oh, bro, you just bro me.
I just broed you.
Okay. So what's this place called where you can get the beignets?
Okay. So Scat Cat Cafe, you can get, this is the one and only place you can get Mickey beignets.
Yes.
So you can get 3 or 6 in an order, and you can choose a dipping sauce. You can either get salted caramel, strawberry, or chocolate ganache.
Don't get caramel. We
got caramel, and I regret that decision.
Well, I don't think the beignets need a dipping sauce personally, but if I was going to use one, I would say chocolate.
I agree. These do not need a sauce.
The caramel wasn't a good combo. It was kind of odd.
But they're sweet enough and they're delicious enough without it, so it's like whatever. Yeah. What did you think of them?
They were really good. They were bigger than I thought they'd be. They were fresh. They were very good. I've heard some people say they're not technically beignets. I don't know. I'm not a beignet expert, but they're very much like they're big, they're flavorful, like they were good. I enjoyed them a lot. I thought they were really good. Yeah.
Same. Yeah. Same. They also have the Baton Rouge beignets, which is the beignets that come with a syringe of alcohol and that you push into the beignets and eat them like that. You can get with Bailey's, Kahlua, or rum chata. We did not have these. I've had these in the past, and personally, these are good. They're good. Sometimes it's hard to eat because all the alcohol just like falls out. At least it would with mine. So personally, I would rather just do the regular Mickey beignets and then just drink my alcohol.
Well, what I don't understand about that, like I feel like those would be really good if you dipped them in some of those.
Yeah.
Because like again, like beignets are the way they have them. Like you would be just squeezing them in, like trying to make them fit. Versus like if you had rum chata, which is basically like Cementos Crunch Milk. Let's be real.
Yeah, it is.
If you dipped a beignet in that would be really good. So I would say like more of a dipping thing of it is how I would want to do that.
I mean, you definitely could. You could just take it out and then just get a little cup and
or just put a little bit on top of it while you eat it. I think that would be the way to go. I don't think trying to like jam it into your beignet would be the way to go. Granted, but I don't know. I never had it that way, but that's just me.
And they also have some specialty ones occasionally. So for February, they had some Bananas Foster beignets. We didn't try these. We were there the last day they had them, I believe. But that they sometimes have those, and they also have beignet sundaes you can get. And you can get beignets other places around Disney World, but these are the only Mickey shaped ones you can get.
And I would say these are the best ones I've had at Disney for sure.
Oh yes, agreed.
I think they're in like as a trip. I mean, how much were they for 3 of them?
I want to say $7.79 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when you look at donut prices nowadays, which donuts used to be like 99 cents.
Yeah.
And now donuts become this thing where it's like a lot of them you go to like $5. I mean, you go to Everglazed over there in Disney Springs, like those donuts are like $6-7 a piece, I think. Like, they're expensive.
Yep.
So given that pricing, it's still, for 3, it's a little steep, but it's not as terrible when you compare it to like a lot of the just standard donut pricing you have out there.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. And like there's little spots that set out there. I mean, it's right next to the quick service area.
Which is called Sasagula Floatworks.
Yes, I believe
is that
so.
right? In
Yeah.
factory, something like that.
And so, yeah, it's outside there. So it's got some little seating area, which is nice. And you can go back there and go to the quick service route if you want to do that.
They also have Scat Cat Lounge that opens at night. And they have like a live band that plays on select nights. I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe. But we were not there to hear it or anything. We're doing other stuff. But they have that option if you want to get a drink there and listen to some music.
It's true. They do have that option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We also did not eat at Sasagula Floatworks. We didn't have time. We were there for Flower and Garden, so we had a lot of food over in Epcot and didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, but again, like Disney World quick service is basically the same across the board for the most part.
Yep.
So I don't really ever feel like it's. I've never come across a dish that's like maybe
Phenomenal.
I mean, they each have their own little take on things, but for the most part, it's all pretty standard across the board. It's fine. I mean, back in the day, I think it was Pop Century. They had a artisanal pizza that they did for a little bit that actually was pretty decent.
It wasn't bad.
And then they got rid of it for some reason because Disney World and pizza. It was the first time I was like, wow, Disney World actually has some decent pizza. And then they decided not to. I guess decent pizza was too much work. They're like, we can't do this. We're not Domino's. So they didn't do that. But
not to bury the lead of what we're going to say later about pizza.
Yeah, we'll see. But in terms of like, there's plenty of seating in there. And all that. So it's pretty standard quick service for that. So as a hotel, and we're going to talk about the things we really liked about the resort here.
We kind of already are.
Well, true. Is there anything you else want to mention?
The theming. I mean, it's French Quarter themed. I feel like it's Disney authentic French Quarter. What I mean by that is it's not obviously not like you're going to New Orleans and you're seeing like actual French Quarter, but it's a condensed version and it's very family friendly. I guess I don't know how to say it, but it's set up with like small cobblestone streets like between the buildings of the rooms. There's wrought iron fencing and railings, so I really like that. I think that's a good touch. Lots of pretty fountains. They have the gas street lamps.
The wrought iron fencing in the lobby I thought looked really cool, like the windows and the way the lobby is very small. It is not big.
It's tiny,
but it's got the street. It looks like street lamps in there. It's got the brick on there. Like it looks really. It kind of reminds me of how there's a theme of baseball parks that were built this way. They kind of had like this wood. The brick and with the metal and stuff like that.
The brick on the inside.
Yeah, but like I'm thinking in terms of like how they did some of these. Like I like the way it felt really cool. It was very unique. I've never seen another Disney hotel lobby set up this way.
Well, when you walk inside, I guess we should talk about this. When you walk inside, it looks like it's almost like you're supposed to be outside.
Yeah,
like it's like a courtyard.
Yeah, there's a fountain in there,
and like we were going into the registration area or like the check-in area. It's like you're walking in under like into the building.
And they had very clearly marked areas like, registration, cafe. Like they have signs up to like, exactly where you're going and things like that. So, I mean, it felt really, again, I've never really been in another Disney resort that had that feel to the lobby. Sorry, I didn't do that. I've never been in another Disney resort that had that like feel to the lobby. I mean, obviously like, Wilderness Lodge is like a grand lobby. Huge.
Yeah, this is not.
This is very, like you were saying, like quaint. It's almost like it reminds me like it was supposed to be a little small hotel off of French Quarter.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe the idea behind it. But
did you notice how there were a lot of benches everywhere?
There was a lot of places. Yeah, there was. There's a lot of places to set. Yeah, a lot of places to set.
Yeah.
A lot of green. The landscaping was done very well. It's like lots of like the way the shrubs were. Now, when you're walking around, it looks like the streets of New Orleans. So a lot of
the cobblestone streets.
And they've got signage up and things like that. So it's actually easier if you look at the street names Because sometimes it can get a little confusing when you're in a Disney resort, especially the moderates.
Oh, they did have street names.
Yeah.
I forgot
so sometimes
about that.
it can get a little confusing. Like, I mean, Caribbean Beach can be downright confusing sometimes for people. Like, you know, you get in there and you're like, which building is what? So, like, if you look at these street names, it can kind of like guide you a little bit. Granted, it's not a very big resort.
Honestly, you could, I mean, if you walk out of the lobby toward the pool and you look left, you're going to see all the buildings. You look right, you're going to see all the buildings.
Right. It's not
like you're going to see everything.
Yeah, it's a very small resort for that rating. But yeah, I like that. I'm trying to think of the other thing. I mean, I definitely liked being next to the river in our room. I thought,
oh my gosh,
I thought that was really pretty, especially at night
really
when you get the boats driving by and you're kind of just near the water. You got the street lamps out there. There's places to sit near. There's fountains, and you could sit outside there. And
I like that there is boat access to Disney Springs from this resort, and there's also a boat dock over at Riverside. So usually, what they do is they start at Riverside, then they stop at French Quarter, and then they go to Disney Springs. I think that's a really cool perk about, especially if you're wanting to go to Disney Springs like a couple times or whatever. It's very convenient.
Yeah. Very true.
Very convenient.
Yeah, and you've got obviously really easy access to Riverside if you want to go
especially
over there.
where we were.
Yeah.
Like it was literally
their sister hotels. And again, we love Riverside. So Riverside, and with that, I mean, you can go over there for, you know, food and things like that. But with that, you can also take part of, they have the carriage rides that they start over in Riverside.
Yeah, we did that when we stayed at Riverside.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, it was 20-minute ride. Back then it was $55. Now it's $65. But the reason we even mention it with this episode or with talking about French Quarter is that they take you from Riverside into French Quarter and then back. And like it's kind of cool to hear the horse and the carriage like go over the cobblestones. Like it's a very small detail, but it's actually like really cool.
Yeah.
And the streets are so narrow that I remember we had like trouble turning one time. Like we had to like back up and then turn again.
I think that was because of something in the road though.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that was, I think there was something. There was something in there if I remember correctly.
Okay. Well, anyway, so you can definitely do that. And that is a part of French Quarter too. So and if you want to go to Riverside, besides carriage rides and the food, they also have Yeehaw Bob's.
They do have Yeehaw Bob's over there. That's true.
They've got, the actual table service. Apparently, French Quarter used to have a table service restaurant.
I mean, it's really not big enough for one, given the size of it, unless it was like a really, really good one, and then a lot of people would come over there.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of difficult sometimes at Disney.
Yeah.
With deal with reservations and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, we talked about it over at Riverside boat rides. We weren't really impressed by it. It's okay.
That's all right. Yep.
I don't think I would go out of my way to go to boat rides, personally speaking. At least from what we had a couple years ago, it was just very much like, I mean, Applebee's level, if not worse. It was somewhere around there.
I think it was better than that, but okay.
I mean, I think you're underestimating the power of Applebee's and their deals they have.
Maybe I am.
But yeah, and then now it was closed. We were there, but you've been in the pool here before.
Yeah, so the pool, it's called the Doubloon Lagoon. It's Mardi Gras themed. It's that lore. It's got a 51-foot water slide down a sea serpent that intertwines into the whole pool, and at the top you have King Neptune, which I just call Triton because it looks like King Triton. Yeah, they've got a hot tub in the pool area, well, kind of off the pool area. They've got a kids splash area. I mean, it's a decent sized pool for the size of the resort, and they've got Mardi Gras pool bar. Again, this was all closed when we were there, and they just tell you have to go to the Riverside pool if you want to use pool. So
yeah. Personally, I don't know about any public hot tub that's part of a Mardi Gras themed place. That's just me.
Oh, I would. I'm not touching the hot tub.
I'm not
anywhere. So
I enjoy a hot tub, not a public one. Let's put that one out there. And even at Disney, things it's a little. I don't know. There's some interesting crowds that kind of frequent those hot tubs. I'll just put it that way.
That's true.
Yeah.
They also have a kids playground right outside the pool area. They do the campfire like they do at other resorts. They do the movie Under the Stars. You can do fishing while you're there. You can do the arcades called South Quarter Games Arcade and the Jackson Square gift shop. And I will say at the gift shop, I found quite a few French Quarter exclusive merchandise. Like it was all Tiana themed, but if you're looking for that French Quarter stuff, it is there. It is there.
Well, there
Shirts, hats, cups, etc. So
okay. Well, I guess the question would be, what would you give it, and would you stay here again?
So I would stay here again for sure. I like the quaintness of the resort. I would want our kids to come back so they can experience the pool. I like that there's only one bus stop. All those things that we said, the beignets. So I will stay here again. As far as what I would rank it, I would probably rank it I'd probably do like a 7 out of 10. And the reason I give it a 7 out of 10 is that for the price you pay for a moderate resort and what this resort gives you, you could also get a DVC deluxe resort for around the same price.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
if you rented points.
If you rented points sometimes. So in my brain, I'm like, well, I would just go with the deluxe. But I'm glad we stayed here because again, I really like this resort. The rooms I'm not as a fan of. You know, the rooms could definitely be redone. So with that, I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, my issue I have a lot of Disney moderates is there's no difference in the room, in my opinion, outside of very small theming from values to moderates. Mm-hmm. So then it comes down to, is the resort itself worth it? And that's very dependent upon each family. It's like family or, you know, going on a solo or just, you know, you and another person. I liked it. When you're talking about the price it's at, I don't know if that's worth it given the stuff included with it. The resort itself, I think I agree with you. I'd say like about 7 out of 10. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was quaint. Mm-hmm. If you were asking me if I'd stay here again, I wouldn't have it as like a first choice. Okay. I think when it comes to moderates, I still like Riverside better.
I was going to ask you if you got to pick one or the other.
I think Riverside has more things going on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got more stuff to do for that reason. And I think it's just natural. Like I was saying when we stayed there, it kind of reminded me of like Augusta in some parts of it. It just looked really pretty, and it had a lot more like walking trails and bridges you could go over. So
we were in the Magnolia section, which was really nice.
It was, yeah. So I still think I would say Riverside better. In terms of the other moderates, again, I'm not a huge fan of the Disney moderate category as a whole. To me, it just depends. Like with our family, I would say probably I would rather do like a value because I think our kids would enjoy, say, like Art of Animation more with the theming and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I enjoy, I think Pop Century in terms of like, I like that. That's my favorite value as a whole. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I don't like this place. I don't know if it's worth it when you're talking to the price per night difference. Given the room, I don't think the room has, you know, like I said, it's got little flares here and there. I don't know how much that matters to people when you're staying there for like, say, like 5 nights or 2 nights, however long you're staying there. Mm-hmm. The resort's cool, but I think at the same time, if you're going with a family, I think you'd probably get more. I think you get pretty bored in French Quarter after a few days.
Oh, I see. So it's a good for like a weekend trip or
like a night or two. I think that could be okay, but I really think if you're here very long, you'd probably like versus staying like a value. It's got more things to do, and especially like Pop Century, you got the Skyliner there. You can always hop over and do things. Like here, you only have the bus transportation
in the boat.
It's but it's kind of hard to like when you're talking about a value having those different modes, like especially the Skyliner. Like that's a nice perk. Especially just to get around. So for me personally, I'm not that I would never stay here again. It just wouldn't be at the top of my list.
Okay.
I guess is the best way to put that.
Fair enough.
But that's kind of how I look at all the Disney moderates.
Oh, fair enough.
So that's kind of where I put that. So that's our take on Port Orleans French Quarter.
French Quarter.
And if you have any questions about it or anything, feel free to join the Capture the Magic Facebook group.
Yeah.
That's a great place to do that. And then you can always ask us on, Instagram would be the best spot to message us there because we see those messages more if you had questions or anything like that. Or just tell us we're wrong about our opinions, I suppose. So you can do that as well. So, all right. Let's talk about Via Napoli real quick.
Okay.
We're not known, like, we talk about food and stuff like that. Like, we're not going to claim to be foodies. We're not going to break down flavor profiles, and I'm not going to tell you I picked up hints of basil and whatever.
Oh my gosh. That sounds so not something we would do.
That's not how we kind of go.
Did you like it? Yes. Was it good? Sure. What'd you get again? Maybe.
Good. I mean, maybe good, not great, whatever.
Good, not great.
And the thing is, we give our honest opinion about things, especially from a family perspective. Now, granted, we ate here without our kids, so there's just Jamie and I.
Yeah.
So this was
Thank goodness.
Well, yeah, that's true. So, all right, well, let's start off. We had reservations here for 1 o'clock.
It was like
12:55, whatever it was.
We got there early.
We did get there early, and this is kind of where, not that the service here was bad, but we got there, we checked in, and there were people, and I don't know if this is a common thing, there were people in front of us who did not have reservations, and there was this walk up, and they told them, oh, it'd be 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll probably get in pretty quick. No, we got in well after they did. And I was like,
yeah, they definitely got their table before we did. I was like, oh.
Like probably by 20-ish minutes. And I was like, okay. So I was a little confused as to like the advantage of having reservations. And it wasn't like we had a party of like 8. I get it if you have like a party, like a big party of 8 or something. It was just 2 of us. So I was like, okay, that's, and I was.
Well, they also have less tables of 2.
Well, they do. And I will say, and this would have gone in its favor, I was very hungry.
Yeah, he was.
So I wasn't the most patient at this point, but I wasn't yelling at people. I was just sort of like, what is going on here? So that wasn't the best start, but it's like, whatever, no big deal. Like we got in, we got our seat, but so right off the bat, we get seated. And if you're unfamiliar, Via Napoli what is Via Napoli, Jamie, before we go on?
It's an Italian restaurant in the Italy Pavilion at Epcot. It's the very back. There's also Tutto Italia. Is that what it's called? It used to be Tutto Gusto, I think.
It's Tutto Gusto still.
Is it Tutto Gusto?
I think so.
Sorry about that. There's that. There's sometimes the pizza windows open over there, and then Via Napoli.
Yes, they're most known for their pizza.
That is what they're known for, yes.
And I had eaten here back in 2019.
Okay.
And I know I talked about it on the show. I had a good experience. I really enjoyed it. And, I remember I ate there with some friends. I think my dad was there, actually, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
I think it was when he was working for Disney.
But they have like small plates. They have salads. They have pasta. They've got chicken. They even have fish and filet. But like Jared said, they're known for their pizza.
Yes. So we, they call our name. We get taken back there, and we were seated. Like James, I don't think they had a lot of 2-person tables.
Right.
We were seated literally like right on the other side of the waiter and waitress station.
It was like the place where they put the orders in and like the process checks.
Which isn't the best spot.
And when I say next to it,
like we were
like I could have put my hand over, like right where I'm sitting, just reached over and touched everything they had.
Which get awkward because like we felt like we actually couldn't have a conversation.
I know,
because they legitimately would have heard everything we're saying. I'm just sort of like, this is kind of awkward.
And like they weren't always standing there, but they were. There's always somebody coming in and out and out. It was just
right. That's also where they got the drinks. That's also where like they was just a very busy hub, and not to mention where Jamie sat. I think they tried to squeeze so many tables in because her chair was sticking out
of the walkway,
and I scooted back a bunch.
Yeah.
And still, like your chair was sticking out to the point like people were walking. So you're eating at the same time. You have the waiter and waitress staff like right here, and then people are like bumping into Jamie's chair the whole time. And I felt like Dennis in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia about screaming about the chairs. I don't know if people see that episode, but I was like, "Do I have the squeakiest chair in all of Philadelphia here?"
Yeah.
Like, anyways.
And it was in. I feel like this is going to be a complaining episode, but it's just our experience. It's also very loud in there. Very loud.
It's very echoey. There are different rooms we were in the main area.
Yeah.
With very high ceilings. It wasn't. Now I will say it wasn't really that busy.
No, I don't think it was.
Quite a few empty tables. And
it's also staffing.
It could be staffing as well. But it was. I mean, there were a lot of people trying to get in to eat. I will say, which is why I was confused by the walk-up thing. Because there were so many houses. Anyways, I don't know the processes, whatever. Yeah. So, like I said, I'd eaten here before, and I was like, okay, I was starving. I'm like, this is gonna, if it's decent, I'm gonna love this place. I will say right off the bat, the thing that got me, and if you want to bring that up, the prices here, they're a bit steep for pizza. I'm used to pizza. In my mind, Mellow Mushroom is kind of high end pizza. So we have we got a couple near us. And you go to Mellow Mushroom, you're going to get a large pizza. You're probably going to, I don't know, you might spend $30. Mid-20s. I feel like pizza, $20 to $30 range, like that's kind of high end for pizza. I put it this way. There's certain foods in which, in my mind, there's a ceiling on in terms of price. Steak has a high one because steak, you have a really good steak. And we've gone to California Grill, and the meal we had, what was like $75 each? 90, okay. And I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had. It was an anniversary dinner. Like, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So it's not like just because of a price we're not going to come back and say we didn't like it. Really enjoyed California Grill meal.
And Topolino's too.
Topolino's as well.
Awesome.
Eating there, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
So right off the bat, I'm looking at the prices here, and a medium,
No,
I guess a small pizza starts at
it's like $21.
21. A large
Starts
was
at
42. $42, but the one we were going to get is 45, and I guess the biggest one was like 60.
Metro.
And I immediately was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being that high. It very well could have been. It had been a while since I've eaten there. It was 2019. I don't really remember, but I was like, okay. So we're like, okay, whatever. We're just going to do this. It's good pizza. So we got a large
Meat lovers,
which again was like $45. And we also got a appetizer.
Yeah. Oh, so the appetizer was a focaccia bread, and it comes with marinara and Italian extra virgin olive oil and herbs. No herbs, just olive oil, which is okay. And it was for $8.50.
It may have had some in there. I think what you were
small.
used to was most Italian restaurants you go to, there's quite a bit of herbs in there.
Oh,
I think
okay.
there was a little bit in there. Now don't mind it. This was good. Actually, it was better with the olive oil than it was.
I
with the
thought it was
sauce.
very good.
So I thought this was actually pretty good. I
Yeah.
didn't have any issue with it.
We ate all of it, so
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, starving. It was good. It was funny. Like, I mean, just simply olive oil with bread. I'm like, that's very good.
But I would see normally at an Italian restaurant or a restaurant like this, I would get calamari. I really like calamari, and it's only the rings here, which is good. It was $23 for the appetizer. I was like, that's a little steep for just an appetizer. So I was like, not tonight. I'll just do focaccia.
I feel like 23 for calamari is a little steep.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, you are talking Disney, and this.
Yeah.
The thing about this place though is like it's not like fancy.
It doesn't feel fancy.
Like the prices you look at has very like Topolino's level pricing, but I don't get the Topolino's vibe with this place. And Topolino's is Italian as well.
Yeah.
This place was very much like, I'm not going to say it was, not that it wasn't nice. It just didn't have that vibe. Like people were wearing like flip flops and, there was no dress code in here.
I mean, it's a theme park restaurant. What are you
Right.
gonna do?
So it's sort of like, okay. But so the prices here were a little, I thought didn't really fit the setting. But so the pizza I will say the pizza came out pretty quick. In this place, they have the pizza ovens in there. It's supposed to be very authentic to
Tuscan
style pizza.
Yep.
So the pizza comes out and okay, what were your first impressions? And I'll talk about how I felt about it.
Okay, so first of all, it was like, oh, this is huge. This pizza is giant.
It is a big pizza.
Yeah.
I will say that's true.
And I usually honestly didn't have any expectations, but so we cut into it, and immediately when we take the first pizza out, literally all the toppings just fell completely off with the cheese. I was like, oh, okay. And the bottom crust part was very like flimsy and very thin, right?
Yeah, it was almost
it
was like soggy in the middle.
It was almost like it didn't get cooked in the middle all the way.
Now again, I don't know what Tuscan style, if that's supposed to be Tuscan style. I don't know that.
I mean,
but
okay.
And that would may get into, if that's how it is and people like Tuscan style, then it would be simply like we don't like Tuscan style pizza, which is a possibility. I'm just saying. So we're just speaking on our personal tastes here. So if you're screaming that's how Tuscan pizza is, fair. Then I don't like Tuscan pizza. I will say for $45 for a large pizza here, and I'm looking at a picture right here just to remind myself. The thing that struck me at the time too, I was expecting this to be just chock full of meat for $45. Very sparse on the meat. It was there, but it wasn't like a lot. There was a lot of cheese left on there. It was also very light on the sauce, which again could be Tuscan style. For me personally, I like a pizza with a little bit more sauce. But I think the thing that I'm just going to say, and again, could be Tuscan style. I don't know. But I felt like the crust, there was way more crust than I feel a pizza should. So I'm looking at a picture right now and the crust, it's almost like maybe they're not putting as much stuff onto the pizzas. I don't know. But it seemed like we had a very limited amount of space that was actually like sauce, cheese, and toppings.
I see what you're saying.
I feel like it was a lot of crust. If you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like that area gets shrunk down very much because a lot of people don't eat the crust. So if the actual pizza's eating size was much smaller than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
In terms of flavor, I will say it was hard to eat. You pick it up and all the toppings would just slide off.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I was just like, okay. And I know New York style trying to fold it. Even when you try to fold it, it wasn't firm enough to hold it.
Yeah,
it
was
fall.
too flimsy. Mm-hmm.
So the only way to eat this was with a fork. And that already, like, you're not supposed to eat pizza with a fork. I agree, but there's literally no other way to eat this because it just basically turned into almost like a casserole, essentially, as we were eating it.
Yeah.
I mean, the flavor-wise itself, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was bad pizza. It was fine. It had some flavor. Now, again, I prefer a little bit more. I would have liked more meat. I like a little bit more sauce. But in terms of the flavor, like, it was okay. It wasn't bad. It just was nothing that I thought was anywhere near the price point.
Right.
You know, and I've had much better pizza for much less. And you know, you even said, now I don't know if this is true, like, we make pizza at home that we'll make our own dough and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say, like, I would never dream of charging anywhere near that for my pizza. And I'm not saying my pizza that I make or we make was better, but I have had pizza that is way cheaper than this I felt like was better. So just speaking of this, I can't say that I think, you know, you could get one pizza and it can feed a family of probably 4. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, that can be...
It can be worth it.
It can be worth it.
We should have done the individual.
Well, I mentioned that, and then you...
But I was like, if it says individual, like, I expect, it's going to be small. But again, I didn't know, and I didn't do my research.
About our experience here is when we first sat down, I at first saw the prices and did a little bit of like excuse me. And then Jamie felt like she was a little frustrated with me for thinking that way. And then midway through the meal, we've completely flipped. I think I was already over the prices. I was like, whatever they are, what they are.
I was mad.
And then Jamie was like, this is ridiculous for this price. I was like,
well, when I saw the pizza, and I was like, okay.
You were right off the bat not impressed by the way it looked. And I will say, it didn't look the best.
Which, by the way, this one, I don't know if you mentioned it, tomato sauce, mozzarella, Italian sausage, pancetta, parma cotta ham, and pepperoni. I don't know if you mentioned that, but okay.
And very, I would say very sparse on all of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the picture right here, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe 15 pepperonis, and they're small pepperonis.
Yeah, they are.
So, just not a lot on a very large pizza. Again, it's a big pizza, but it's very thin.
Sorry, it's a big pizza.
Yes, I don't have the soundboard thing for that. It's big, but it's very thin, and again, there was just a lot of crust with it. So all in all, it's just our way of saying, like, I think the pizza itself, it's not like it was a terrible tasting pizza. It's just at this price point, I don't think it's anywhere near worth it. So I personally, I mean, it never feels good to walk away from a meal. And, like, you know, again, we're obviously very much to Disney pricing. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I get it. Like, things are going to be more expensive at Disney. But again, when it comes to pizza, in my mind, there's a ceiling. And I think when you're talking, like, and honestly, in my head, I'm thinking, like, Mellow Mushroom is about that. And I've been to Mellow Mushroom. I really like it. And they do pizza in a unique kind of way. And you get a pizza for $25, $30. Okay, but it's really good. And you're like, and you have some leftovers. Okay. I mean, you're talking $45, $60 for pizza. Like, you're getting into, like, I mean, I could have got a ribeye for the price we pay for this pizza, and I'd have been much more satisfied. So it just never feels good to walk away from a meal and just very much feel just like, you know, I didn't feel really good. Like, we took it home. I did eat it out of principle the next day. Like, I heated it up and ate it. And, like, again, it wasn't bad. It just...
When people talk about it being the best pizza at Disney World, I can 100% say I do not agree with that.
But what would you say is better than this?
Gosh, see, that's the thing. I don't know.
See, here's the thing. If you're talking...
There's so much pizza.
If you're talking taste alone, yes, this would be the best pizza at Disney, but there's not much competition in that realm. So,
I don't know.
Best taste, yes. Is it worth that price? Me personally, I'll buy some cheaper pizza that maybe isn't as good. But again, like, to me, pizza's pizza, you know.
You should say pizza some more.
I should say pizza more. But, for me personally speaking, I don't think I would want to come back here.
I don't want to go back.
If the pizza's like this.
No.
So for us, it wasn't there. Again, it could be the type of pizza. If you like Tuscan style pizza, then it's for you. Just personally speaking, it's not.
Yeah, I probably won't go back here on my own volition.
And I realize we're probably going to get a lot of heat for this, maybe.
Yes, and I realize that too.
We're just being our honest opinion.
Honestly, like again, like we said, Tuscan style, probably not the style that I like, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to like every single piece of food that Disney puts out. That's fine. What do I wish it would have been like a little, I don't know, cooked more in the middle or actually stayed on the crust? I do. I wish this. So I wish that it wouldn't have been $45. I do. I wish this. Do I wish that I hadn't stuck my chair out in the walkway and been right next to the server's counter place? I also wish this. So there's a lot of things that attributed to our experience here not being that great. So putting those all together, I think made it just be like, I just don't know about it. So again, I don't know if I'll be returning here in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, dining at places like this, like it's supposed to be, like you're saying, all those factors go into the meal. Yeah. And even if the food was great, I'd have been like, the food was fantastic and we loved the pricing, but the seating and the ambiance was terrible. Like we legitimately felt like we couldn't have a conversation. And when the pizza came out, we were both, Jamie started Googling like Tuscan style pizza to be like, okay, like, because again, we're going to talk about this on the show and we're always going to be honest, but we're like, we don't want to, maybe, okay, are we out of the loop here? Is this how it's supposed to be? And looking around, and I couldn't find anything that was said. I don't believe it was supposed to be that soggy in the middle.
I don't either.
Because it just, again, you pick it up and it would just fall off and there was no way to actually eat it with your hands.
I'm just really hoping that this was like a one time thing where we just happened to get a pizza that wasn't that great.
Well, I remember eating here last time and really liking it.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
So I don't, maybe it was a bad day. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it was just not on their game that day. But for us, very much just, if you're going to ask us, hey, should you try Via Napoli? Personally, I would say I would do something else. At that price point, I mean, go to Topolino's and have like a really, really good meal for just a little bit more money. Because if you were to get the largest pizza here at $60, if you get an appetizer, you're not out the door for less than barely $100. And if you get drinks at that level, like go have, in my opinion, a much better meal like a Topolino's or a California Grill or something along those lines versus just a pizza. Because again, pizza to me, I'm like $30. Like there's limits. It's like burgers. Once burgers start really getting, and Disney does this as well, like burgers start getting toward the $20 range, I'm like, okay, I'm out. Like there's just certain prices of certain things where I'm like, it doesn't need, the burger was created to be sort of just a simple dish, and pizza at the end of the day, it's a very simple dish. So would you put a number on it in terms of review? Like what would you give it out of 10?
The whole experience together?
Sure.
4 or 5.
See, I feel experience alone, I would even go like a 3.
Okay.
Like it was not.
All right, then I'll say 4.
To the point when we were discussing the pgoing we were kind of whispering because our waitress would be right there. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm not going to be the type of person that makes a fuss and be like, listen, this was not like, I don't want to be that type of person that like make her feel bad. And maybe I should. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Why would you want to make her feel bad?
Not make her feel bad. Just in terms of like maybe complain. I know some people do that. I've never done that with a meal that I don't enjoy. I just chalk it up and go, that's not going to come back here. But I don't know. I don't want them to go make another pizza. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things like that's not anything I've ever done. So I didn't want to like cause a scene with the whole thing. So we were just discussing it, but like literally like couldn't have a conversation.
Oh, but she was a perfectly lovely waitress.
Waitress was fine. She was good. She was fine. She was attentive. Like not her fault. It's just the seating of this place and where we were at was just not good. But overall experience, I think I would agree with you. I maybe put it at like 4 or 5. It was pretty low.
Okay.
That's just our opinion though. And if you disagree, that's perfectly fine. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Sorry if you don't agree with us.
If you have Midwestern taste like we do.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So that's our thoughts on it. Send all your hate mail to Eduardo at ctm.show.
This fictional Eduardo again.
He's the producer. He knows what he did. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for the show.
Okay.
You got anything else you want to add about anything we talked about?
No.
Okay. Well, like I said, be sure to check us out over on YouTube at CTM Podcast. And also be sure to check out the main YouTube channel at Captain Magic. And I just had a recent Epic Universe construction update go up over there. And be going to do a lot of videos over there. Going to be doing, I'm going to shoot for twice a week on some stuff there. We just crossed the 5,000 subscriber threshold. So we're growing nicely over there. I'd like to continue to do that. So a lot of times we do more, topical, shortened topic videos like we talk about on the podcast, which is very short, like 10, 15 minutes long, something like that. So check out there. Follow us on social media at Captain Magic everywhere except for on TikTok. We're at Capture the Magic. And of course, we have other shows on the network. We have the CTM Universal show. We talk about Universal Studios twice a month. And we'll probably the next one there come out next week. Last one we talked about DreamWorks Land was announced and things like that. And then Jamie has Trip Tales. And the next trip report show you got is?
So it's recorded. I have not edited it, but it's going to be 4 hours long. So I have to divide it into 2 episodes, and I'm just not going to have time to do it until before we leave for Disney. So I'm going to have to push it to be released next Monday.
Okay.
So.
Well, I know a lot of times people like those long ones with those. So
yeah, it's a long one.
It'll be a 2-parter
like
there.
that. Yeah.
So there you go. And then if you want even more content, again, Club 32, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And that'll do it. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Thank you.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.